Well, welcome back to the Bold Vision podcast, where we spotlight bold leaders, game changers, and business owners who are pushing the envelope and making a real impact in their business. I'm your host, Sonya Sanchez. I am the founder of Bold Vision SEO and a firm believer that when we share knowledge, we all rise. On this show, we have real conversations with real people that make a real difference, from marketing to growth, legal protections, operations, and leadership. So whether you are a contractor, a service provider, or a small business owner, this podcast is here to help you scale with confidence and clarity. Today, I'm incredibly excited to welcome Justin Dobson and Brian Chavis, the owner of KnockKnot. It's a mobile app that helps service businesses get lead generation. So we're going to dive right in, and I'm going to introduce these two gentlemen. So welcome today, Brian. So glad to have you. Justin, very, very happy to have both of you here. And we're just going to get right into it. So I want to hear your story. Why don't we just start with how the two of you met? And since there's three of us on here today, we'll just kind of take turns, answering those questions. So Brian, I know that you have an IT background. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and, give us some history about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I founded and sold a couple of IT firms. And then Justin and I knew each other through the business community of Loudoun County. So Justin, I'll let you take over with the origin story.
Sure. So Brian and I knew each other through the Loudoun Chamber specifically, but Loudoun business community through networking, and we'd known each other through small business awards and such like that. But Brian came to me and we were hanging out one time and said, "Hey man, I'm looking to do stuff, IT stuff, and I don't know anything about IT. I'm a marketing guy." So I had kind of pitched this idea that I had for a marketing app that developed through one of my sales team members who had called me from a house. I own another company called Energy where we do home performance, insulation, air sealing, crawl spaces, things like that. And he said, "Man, we've got to market to this street, right? Not this neighborhood, not this zip code, not this town, but this street. It's a gold mine. They have these problems." And so I said, "Okay, well, what's going on?" And he said, "Well, they all have crawl spaces and they have these specific issues." So I said, "Okay, well, walk up and down the street and give me the house numbers and I'll write a letter to them and we'll tell them, we can help them with their problem, because many contractors from outside the home can see a house and go, they need my house. I mean, they need my help, right? The gutters are falling off, the roof's missing shingles, things like that." So he walked the street and said, "Send it to address 210. I said, "Okay." And he walked to the next one and said, "Oh, wait a minute. I can see by this house, they don't have that same design. So don't send it to this one." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you want me to do other than you can go to these doors and hang door hangers or knock on the door and say, 'Hey, I can help you with a problem that I think you have.'" So I pitched that to Brian and he said, "Man, I can develop that." And that's kind of where it all started.
So with Brian in the IT business, you develop software, and so you have more knowledge about, building out apps and doing all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just tell me. So I know that's how it got started. You were trying to figure out a way that you wouldn't have to go knock on door to door, make it easier for these businesses. So when you guys collaborated, Brian, just tell me, what were your first thoughts and what came to your mind, and how did you decide to develop this software, this app that we're going to be talking about?
Well, I think Justin actually had a little more in mind. He thought, well, hey, what if we take a picture of the problem or a picture of the house and put in the address? Well, I figured out that we could have an app that would use Google Maps and automatically do the geocoding so that we could get the address of the house. And then I could have a drop down that says what the problem is specifically. And originally we thought we would develop a spreadsheet or output somehow, take it to a local printer and have them send out the postcards. And what we found is that the local printers didn't have very good technology. And it was just a time suck. It just took too long.
Okay.
So then I found a postcard company, the largest postcard company in the United States, actually, that allowed me to have access through software to their system. So we didn't have to print postcards locally. The app could automatically send the postcards to the postcard company. They would print the postcards the next day and send them out in the mail the day after that. So that was kind of the genesis of the total package that we have now.
Okay. All right. So that's what I want to talk about, your wins, like, and your challenges. So, getting something like this started, I'm sure there were a lot of challenges and things that you thought might work, didn't work, right? So you want to go through some of those? Want to talk about some of that?
Justin, you have better memory than I do.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think the biggest thing to add to what Brian said, the great thing about the KnockKnot cards that go to the home is the homeowner's receiving on both sides of the card full color picture of their home. So instead of a stock photo, they look at the mail, they open it up and they go, wait a minute, that's my house. And then it says, your gutters are falling down, or, the rooms over your garage are uncomfortable. Do you have this problem? Call us. We've solved this in your neighborhood. So it draws attention to the homeowner instantly, and they understand, oh, wow, that's my house. And yes, I do have that problem. It's pretty unique because when the customers call us, they'll say things like, how did you know that I had this issue? On my end, so I don't do anything. You're lucky if I can do email and turn on or off a computer, to be honest. So Brian can tell you the struggles that he had with that. I was kind of the idea, the marketing guy, and said, here's what we have. But also within my company, I think the bigger challenge was getting people to use the app, to understand that it works. And we have now stats. We started this whole journey 2 years ago, I guess it would be, and started using it in November of last year. So we're coming up on a year of usage within my company. And it's been really successful at keeping our cost per lead very low, the call to action from the customer. And we've more than tripled the money that we've spent on it by selling jobs to these homes. So for me, on the marketing and sales side, was just getting my sales team and the people that are in my company to understand this is another outlet that we have to help market our company, and to understand that marketing is everybody's job within the company. It's not just the marketing person, it's everybody. We're all responsible for a little piece of that pie for marketing. So on my end, that's the challenge that I kind of incurred.
Right. So from the day that you guys first got the app up and running, and let's say to the current state today, what kind of changes have you had to make? What have you learned that in the very beginning wasn't really working or wasn't working as efficiently as you would like it to, so that you could market it to other companies and know that it was going to work properly, and that this is something that you could actually potentially market to that roofing company, that landscape company, that windows company, whomever it is. And we're going to get into the whole marketing and customers and that. But what have you learned? What have been the changes that have been made? What makes it better today than maybe it was in the very beginning?
That's an answer for Brian, I'm sure.
Well, I don't want to go into technical details, but we had some hurdles in terms of you have to connect in with Google. Very, very complicated. I had to connect in with the postcard company. Again, that's complicated. We had some issues with the cameras of all the phones, making sure that they all worked and that it automatically defaulted to the back camera. I actually had to hire a Ukrainian programmer to figure that out for me. I think the only major change, though, that we've made since we started is we added the capability of picking homes on a map. You can have a target house. Let's say you're going out to fix, 123 Main Street. You can put that in and then get a map of that target house and zoom in and out and put pins on all the houses around it that you like, and send postcards out that way. So that gives the marketing person or a production person the ability to send cards from their desk rather than going around and taking pictures. And like Justin said, getting people to take the pictures. And we find that we work best with well-managed companies and companies that are a little bigger than 3 or 4 people.
Right. Your startup, your smaller businesses. I would think a company with at least 10 to 20 employees doing maybe $1 million or more a year, wouldn't you think? I mean, they have more of a sales, team or people working for them that are out in the field that are going to utilize this tool.
Typically, those companies from the top down are managed better. I mean, I'd like to consider my company to be managed pretty well because I'm the manager.
Of
But,
course.
and we have a team of managers. I shouldn't say that, but if you have good structure within your company, implementing anything, whether it's a marketing phone app like ours or anything, any change that you're doing in your business, becomes better and easier if that company has grown because they're good at implementing new things. So the management of it is pretty important, and being able to do that to spread the word. Here we're using this new product. Here's how we use it. Here's how we set the expectations and when to use it and why to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a question because I really I like this subject a lot, and it's off topic just a little bit, but I'm sure it's got a really unique story to it because I find the name of the business very catchy, very intriguing. Like when I first met you, Justin, you were like KnockKnot, and I'm like KnockKnot, and I'm thinking knock and like a knot, like a shoe tie knot, and I'm going KnockKnot. What is he talking about? And then when you told me, I know, but then when you told me, it's all about, no, we don't want to knock, so it's KnockKnot. So tell me, who wants to tell me the story about the name and how that came to be?
Here's how that happened. It's the end of the story where my salesperson was walking down the street, said, send it to that house, not that house, send it to that house. And so with your traditional marketing, you can spend thousands of dollars and send it to that neighborhood or that zip code, but those messages fall on people that may not have gutters falling off or garages that need epoxy floor or whatever your company does, right? So I said to the salesperson, we have door hangers. Why don't you walk the neighborhood and hang those door hangers on the doorknobs that are
the right house for the right service?
Right. And he said, I'm not doing that. And I said, okay, well then how do you want me to market to this gold mine? If it's such a gold mine, take the time and knock on the door, right? And so the other thing that this works really well for are companies that do canvassing. So roofing companies are notorious for it, where they go and canvass neighborhoods after storms, things like that. It's a great implementation device that they can use in conjunction with their already door knocking canvassing. That's a lot less obtrusive. They don't have to interrupt the homeowner. You don't even have to step foot on the homeowner's property, knock on the door, or anything, and still deliver the message that you want to deliver to them. And that was the beauty of the app to me. I mean, that's why I love the app, because if I got a great day, today is going to be 80 degrees here in Northern Virginia. It's a great day that I'll send out a text to my group text to my sales guys and go, hey, everybody go take 10 pictures for me on KnockKnot. And they can go do it. No problem. They don't mind it. It's really easy to do.
Yeah, that brings another question. And this is just things coming to my mind, just being in construction and trying to think of innovative ways to be more efficient. I mean, now with AI and all these crazy technologies we have, I mean, if you were to work with a bigger company, say a roofing, does maybe 5 million, 10 million, 20 million a year. I bet you if they had drones, and they could put a drone like in a neighborhood after a storm. I mean, imagine what they could capture and not having to use a person. I mean, have you talked to any companies that have that type of, technology? I mean, because that's kind of where the world's going now.
I'll let Brian answer that one. He's the technology guy.
I've looked, throughout the last year, I've looked at drone technology, and, it's not as easy as you think it is. Let's just put it that way. And there are a whole lot of regulations. I mean, we're just walking up and down the street. We start sending drones, throughout a neighborhood. That's invasive in my mind. But the technology of getting the pictures and the address from a drone is almost like writing a whole new side of the app. And so I'm kind of taking a look at that. But and the other thing on the sales side, it's like, we're going to have them buy $1,000 drone. Right now, they can sign up for $150. A lot of business issues with that.
Well, yeah, and I guess where we live, I mean, not to cut you off, Justin, but being that we're in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC, I mean, I could see drones might, be like, oh my God, what's going on around our house? I just know that in more rural areas, it's more and more common maybe to see that. And, that might be something down the road, and we're going to talk about the future and, what it looks like down the road. But go ahead, Justin. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was going to say, and hopefully business owners, small business owners, especially blue collar home service owners and their marketing team will appreciate when I say this. There's a certain aspect of the KnockKnot app in which the salesperson is responsible for delivering their own lead. And what I mean by that is if a marketing guy just went out there or a girl goes out and flies a drone around the neighborhood and takes the pictures, that's great. But the idea is that the salesperson knows in their being, I want to work on that house. I want to work on that house. That house I don't want. This one I do. And so they can walk a neighborhood very quickly before or after a sales call on a nice day, walk around and spend 10 minutes the act of taking a picture and saying, I want to send it for this specific problem, it's 30 seconds. So
Okay.
time to walk the neighborhood is very minimal. I've got some guys that have driven around the neighborhood, but it's best to walk around the neighborhood, and they're taking ownership in their own lead. Matter of fact, in several things, when our direct mail pieces go out, it asks the customer, when you call our office to schedule the free estimate, ask for blank, the person who took that picture, so that they can go run that call because they are the ones that said, that house needs my help and I recognize that. And they get rewarded for that too. There's an aspect of the salesperson taking ownership for helping to develop their own leads, or production people as well. They can say, I want to work in that house. I've got pretty much everybody in the company that works outside of the office using the app. So if you just sent up a drone, yeah, that's probably a marketing person or somebody doing that. But to me, there's an aspect of the salesperson saying, I want that.
Right. I was just thinking drone, like in certain circumstances, like after a storm, maybe you can't get through the roads. Maybe there's a bunch of trees down, like a hurricane situation south, where there are hurricanes. Florida, because this could be a national, business. We don't need to just stay locally, so I kind of always look at the big picture, Florida, places where it floods, you can't go look. Whereas if you had a bigger company that is, they do more of these, not first responder type things, but, they come in after these storms, whether it's utility companies or restoration companies, maybe they can't see the full picture right then. So, a company like that does that kind of major revenue, use a drone, go in there. Then once they could get back in, they go back and then they go, okay, we definitely need to target this area. The whole neighborhood is really, in dire straits and needs help.
I guess that's where Brian said, the biggest change we did was having the ability to not have to walk the neighborhood to take the pictures to send it to a specific area. You can drop a pin on a map.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So let's just.
The bigger picture about this is that, when you do a startup, focus is really important. You can't chase every cat that runs by. We would just be chasing something that was way outside of our purview and way outside of our focus.
No, that makes sense. And yeah, it's only 2 years old, right? So you got to walk before you run. And, there's a lot of things that you have to figure out along the way. And, but let's just go into, your current day-to-day, like operations, your roles in operations. So with you guys being co-owners, I know that, Brian's on the IT side. Justin, I'm not really sure, what your role is. So can we just talk about like day-to-day? And Brian, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think the nice thing about this business is that it's recurring revenue. And very rarely do I have any technical issues that people are coming at me with. So, it's like once a month, maybe. Some new user, they need to know something. So all of that's been really easy. Managing the payments we do through a Stripe, that's been pretty easy. And other than that, it's, I do most of the demos. So
okay.
Someone comes at us with an interest, hey, I heard from so-and-so that, whatever. I set up a 30-minute Zoom. And they decide pretty much within that week if they want to try it out. And then it takes about 15 minutes for them to sign up and get, and I have a little talk with them and talk about how to manage their people and those kinds of things. And, go over the home issues that they want. Like if they're a concrete company, it's be much different than a roofing company. I get them all started, and then they start taking pictures.
Okay, yeah. So while we're on that subject, why don't you just walk us through? Because there might be some companies out there that are going to watch this and they want to know, all right, how long is it going to how long is it going to take me to learn this app? Is it, user friendly? What is this going to cost me? Why don't we just, touch on that before we jump over to Justin and get his role in day-to-day operations? Somebody might, like I said, somebody might see this, whether it's roofing, concrete, landscaping, windows. Walk us through just the process so that they have a clear understanding that if they decide they want to call you. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to give them, your website and all the information of how to reach you as well. But give us a brief overview of an onboarding of a new client.
Okay, once they call me and say, hey, we're ready to go, I'll set up a, virtual meeting.
Okay.
Every company needs somebody that's the administrator of everybody else. So usually I like to sign up the administrator first. So they'll click on a link on the app or a link that I send them. The app opens up and they first put in their company information and then they put in their personal information. I'm just talking about email and password and that kind of thing. And then they start using the app. So it's the app screen that most people use is one screen with a plus on it. So they hit the plus sign, take a picture, save the picture, and then they walk to the next house. So I just have everybody in the room on the meeting take a test picture to make sure that, they've got their permissions set up in their phone correctly, et cetera. And they're all like within 5 minutes, oh, okay, I got it. So there's no real training. I think on the administrator side, the first time they do print postcards, some people like for me to be in on that, so I'll Zoom with them and show them how to
just to make sure, right? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So once they take the picture, you can automatically generate a postcard. Now explain to us how this is sent to the customer, because people watching might not know, is this going to go by email? Is this going to go in the mail? How are these people going to receive the postcard? And just give us a little bit of background on what the postcard.
What most people do is they accumulate pictures.
Okay.
Right? They want to send out a batch, and that's for a lot of reasons. You want to know, that, I got 60 cards are going to go out on this day. So we have a approval step. So the administrator goes in and looks at all the pictures, where they scroll through them. And because I had a company the other day that, they were taking pictures and the rear view mirror of the car was in the middle of it, so it's like they need a little training,
Sure. You don't want to send that to a customer or a potential customer or lead. No.
Yeah. The other thing is, you don't want to go taking pictures in a neighborhood when the school buses are running. You don't want to take pictures of kids. So some people just take dark pictures.
They're just not thinking correctly.
Right. So the administrator goes through and approves the batch. And then once they've done that, they can actually go to a particular picture, hit the proof button, and they'll get an instant proof on their screen or in a browser of exactly what that postcard's going to look like.
Okay.
So all the data is merged into the postcard, the homeowner's address, the salesperson's name, the home picture, the marketing message. We can even have the salesperson's picture merged onto the back of the card as well. There are some other things we can merge. And so once they hit the print button, you have a little screen that pops up and tells them how much it's going to cost. They hit print, and that's the end of it, as far as they're concerned. So I use JavaScript to connect into the postcard company.
Okay.
And that just generates a postcard for all 60 in the batch. And then at midnight, I believe, they batch it all together, print the next day, and mail through the post office,
Okay.
all of the cards. And then we also have, every time somebody, you just send out 60 cards, for example. One card will send out that's addressed to the company, and it has a little, mail truck on it. And so that they get that postcard at their office the same time everybody is getting their 60 postcards. So they know, okay, our postcards are out.
Right.
And we can also, the postcards have a barcode on them, so we can track, so we know when they're delivered.
Right. So you can, hopefully be expecting a call. And so on top of, and we're going to get into pricing a little bit, on top of a small business or home service business, roofer, whatever, on top of them purchasing the app, paying the monthly fee, what is it per postcard? So let's just narrow either 50 postcards, 100. I mean, like, what is it per postcard to have them made and mailed for them? Because that's on
$2.
top of the monthly service and the app, correct?
Yes, $2.
$2. So $2 per postcard. Okay.
Yep.
It's pretty reasonable.
One of the beautiful, so several things that I'd like to add on the usage side of it, right? So that kind of walked us through the admin part of after the data is collected. But what I want to make sure everybody understands is how easy this thing is.
Okay.
Right? If I'm a salesperson and I go, you know what? I like that house. I walk up, stand on the sidewalk, open the app on my phone. I simply snap a picture. Immediately the address comes up and from Google, right? Mapping.
Right.
And I go, yep, that's the right address. And from a drop-down menu, for example, my company, maybe their top floors are too hot or they've got cold floors in the winter. These are things that I could look at from the street without bothering that customer and say, send a message to this house because they probably have cold floors because of the way the house is designed. That goes into the database that the admin is now in charge of. And so the way our company works is it's very much driven by the weather, right? So this summer when it got hot, we were sending out messages in the batches that we were sending out about their top floor being too hot, or maybe the rooms over the garage being too hot. I wasn't going to send any messages about cold floors in the middle of the summer. So when admin goes in, they can pick and choose whether they want to do it by date range or by the message that is sent. And each batch also, by the way, those 60 cards are not all the same message. They completely vary by the picture of the house that's on that card, the address, of course, and then the message. So in that batch, you could send out different messages for different things to the customers. But it is so, as he said, you show people how to use it, and within 5 minutes, they're like, okay, this is easy. I get it.
No brainer, right?
Yeah, and Justin made a point there I'd like to reiterate. So you have a database over time. I think some of the companies we have over 1,000 pictures and postcard, potential postcards. So like, this winter, they're going to go back and say, all right, let's send out the cold floor to all those houses. So you know how direct mail works. You should be able to send out multiple copies at different times. So the app lets you do that.
And I'm going to add to that, companies, if they are have systems in place, right, and they know who they converted last year to a client and who hasn't been converted, well, then those people that were never converted to begin with, you can go back in the following year or season. I mean, maybe you're a power washer and maybe, you were looking to power wash driveways or, decks or something like that. And you've got, 1,000 cards went out and 500 converted or 400. And, you still have those 600 from last season that didn't call you, that didn't convert. You can go back in and regenerate those cards and send it again. But the only thing might be different is if the house sold. The owner might be different, right? So I'm just thinking about that as I'm talking, as I'm thinking, so how would that work?
So our cards are sent out to homeowner. So I have the ability to go to different databases. Zillow does it. The realtors have it. In Loudoun County, for example, I can go to the Loudoun County tax records.
Right.
And pull out the owner's name, but we found that I don't know, it's a whole lot to add to this. People don't generally care. Our customers don't care about who actually is living in the house.
Or the
So
name on the card. Like, I mean, I guess it
No.
says Tom Jones, and Tom Jones sold it last year, but the power washer sends a new card, Tom Jones, and they see the picture of the house. Yeah, I mean, because I mean, me as a business owner, I'd want to be able to utilize those leads from the last season, send them all back out. Wouldn't probably matter to me whether or not the homeowner was still the same homeowner. I'd probably just take a chance and send it anyway.
It's even better if it's not the homeowner because it just says dear homeowner. My meaning
Oh,
of
is it?
that is the person that was living in that house the first two times you sent the card maybe wasn't interested in fixing that problem. Now the new homeowner is there. They get the card and they go, man, I've been wondering why this happens. I would love to fix
Okay.
it. So it's a
Okay.
great opportunity. And something to be said too is our company's got over 1,000 pictures or spots of data that we have in this app. You can send 100 cards at a time, or 1,000, or 3, or 1. It doesn't matter. You're in charge of your own budget. So for these companies that are smaller companies and are just starting up, the idea is to get that database in there, take all the pictures, have it there, and then you can pick and choose how many cards you want to send in a batch. Whereas the other direct mail type pieces, you make
You're obligated.
$1,000, right? And you don't even know
Right.
where the hell that's going to.
Right. Yeah. Most of these companies that want to do a bulk, yeah, you have to buy so much, and
Right.
they're mostly generic. This is more personalized. So besides all that, so Justin, I mean, what is your day-to-day operations? What is your role in this particular company?
Bring the funnel of people in, meet people in my other business that I have. I do a little bit of networking here and there, and I meet people like I met you, right? Chamber meeting. And so I just talk to people and I show them the app and go, look, here's something that we're using with our company. It's been successful. Would you like to try it? And if so, I could connect you to Brian and he can give you and your company a demo. So I'm the guy that's in charge of bringing people through the door to see the app and use it.
Great, because that's my next topic is the market landscape. So I'm like, what trends are you seeing in the market these days? What's working? What's not working for you guys?
As far as the KnockKnot app itself,
Yeah.
so most of the marketing that we've been doing so far has been word of mouth, me, right? So
Right.
one of the reasons I was interested in meeting with you is to get a new audience, if you will, right? So my company's part of a dealer network that's all throughout the country. This app will work anywhere. I mean, so we've taken pictures in Michigan, Indiana, different places as we travel throughout the United States. It works. It works the same way and just as fast as and effective. So being able to bring the opportunity to other like-minded businesses that do in-home improvements to where we've had waterproofing companies use it, and anybody can use the app.
Right.
They know the neighborhoods, they know what type of home. We have a house cleaning company, right? From the outside of the house, they can't tell whether your house is dirty or clean. However,
Correct.
they know that their ideal house is 3,000 square foot, not 10,000 square foot, and blah, 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 blah. And so they're able to give it to their house cleaners, and they know what types of houses they like to clean, and they can take pictures or they can use the geo mapping and pick, hey, these are the neighborhoods that we want to hit. So it's very flexible to be able to be done. But in the market itself, I think right now people are looking for anything new or different, to be different. And I can tell you that KnockKnot delivers that because you're not just sending out thousands of dollars worth of blanketed cards for somebody that may or may not even have the issue that you can help them solve. It's very specific, it's very focused, and it's unique because it has a picture of the house that you're literally sending it to. They see their own house. I don't know, Brian, you have any other feedback on that?
Well, in terms of the market, these companies that we want to get are pretty hard to get to because they're mostly owners, right? That's who we need to get to is the owner.
Absolutely. You don't need the gatekeeper. You got to go straight
And
to.
so in this world, like a lot of the contractors that we're dealing with, especially the owners, I mean, they don't use LinkedIn,
Right.
So they're hard to get to. So what we found is that if we get into groups of contractors,
Okay.
that we do better because They're talking to each other, networking opportunity for us. So it's also hard to buy a list, which is crazy. I went to all the list companies. Let's say we wanted to send an email to, all the owners of certain types of contractors. The list companies couldn't help me out.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a day of, I mean, that's long gone, and not going to get into this too much, but that's the whole reason, we're going to show you the CRM system that we have and that we're building, is because we have a lead generator tool where you can scrape, exactly the exact, ideal customer that you're looking for. And it will give you the owner's name, email, phone number, address. It's amazing. And and it's global, and we'll talk about that another day. But yeah, if you had something like that at your fingertips for either you or your sales team, where they could go through there and make this list for you through a CRM that's custom built for you. I mean, that's a game changer. I mean, that's something, most businesses need and want. And so I'm finding that, that is something that really is a game changer for a lot of companies, because getting to the gatekeeper, getting through the gatekeeper, getting to the owner, finding out who the person it is that you need to be talking to, and making sure it's getting to the right person, sometimes is a problem. So I'm really looking forward to, talking with you guys about that. And, everybody, everywhere that I go, I tell people I don't just build websites, I'm really just trying to find good ways to help companies get visible. I mean, yes, you should be in the maps. Yes, you should have a website. Yes, you should be networking. Yes, you should be on podcasts or LinkedIn or Spotify, all of these ways. Like, it's not just one way, because now with AI and the technology, the people that are winning, the companies that are winning, the companies that are gaining, they're doing that, and they're not beating you or beating other people by price or anything. It's just they are marketing better, and they're using those tools, and they're spending the money to do it, and it's paying off for them. So yeah, the world's just changing a whole lot, with everything in technology. So it's not like it used to be, that's for sure. So I was going to go into competition, but I don't even think there's another, you guys don't really have any competition, I would say. I mean, there's no other app that, I mean, do you guys have a patent on this? Of course you do, right?
So there are companies that send out postcards based on
Okay.
Google Maps,
Okay.
but they're not as specific as what we do.
Right. They don't have an app that they're actually selling to business owners to use.
Not that I know.
No, there are postcard. You can go in and put in an address, zoom out, make a big circle, and send postcards to all those houses.
Okay. That's like the bulk thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So do we want to go into pricing just a little bit? So if someone sees this, I mean, because I've got a couple people just off the top of my head that I've met, and one's a client, they actually do power washing, and he's still real old school. I mean, the guy just, he's, a lot of people are stuck in that. And so he still will go door to door and throw flyers on people's, what they do is they put, I don't know if they put a note or they put something like in a Ziploc bag, and they put a couple of rocks in the bag, and they throw them on the driveways. He'll drive through, and this is in Texas, in the Woodlands, which is a very, very prominent, area. I mean, $1 million houses. And I mean, he's been in the business for 30 years. And, I'm doing their website work and their Google business, and, helping them try to get out of that old school way. He swears that it still works, driving by and doing that. But this is something that really, might, I mean, if he's driving by there anyway, we'll start taking the personal pictures, and maybe he could convert, more clients. So what's a business looking at to, have this service? I mean, what's it going to cost them?
So we have a setup fee, which includes training and meetings and all that kind of stuff, of $150. And then kind of introductory price per month is $75 for up to 10 users. And that's it.
$3
Yeah,
a card.
what? I think that's like so cheap. I mean, I think eventually once you guys start, the name gets out there and you guys get more well known, that price should probably go up because I mean, that's just my opinion. It's that's very reasonable. You're not
Correct.
trying to take an arm and a leg.
Well, that's kind of the whole, I would say, marketing pitch, in my opinion. It's very easy to use, it's very focused and specific, but it's also very affordable, especially for those, maybe our biggest competitors or people that are using regular, direct mail, right? It's for those types of companies who are doing door knocking. It's a great, cheaper, much cheaper alternative that you can be selective on how much you want to spend and to whom and all that kind of stuff. It's very affordable.
Yeah, I would say so. So I hope people out there, people watching, that they, realize how inexpensive this is and what value it is. Because I see the value in it for sure. So let's just talking about vision and goals, like the future. And I don't know whoever wants to, answer this, just jump right in. But I mean, where do you want to take the business in the next, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months? I mean, what is your vision?
I mean, to me, the goal is to continue to add people, companies, get it introduced to as many companies and put it in the hands of as many companies as possible. Because I think if they see how easy it is to use over the next 12 to 24 months, the word will spread. I'd love to, the ultimate vision would be this is the new direct mail marketing app, right? It's the household app that everybody's using throughout the country to be able to take that $5,000 a month that they're spending on, I'll say it, crappy direct mail marketing and flip it over to us and become more focused and driven towards the exact customer they want to see. Oh, that's the ultimate vision in my mind.
Also, this is our first app. So we've got our second app in development, and that serves a completely different market, but
Okay.
the similar concept of being able to take pictures and send out mail. So, I won't get into, what market it is.
You got my curiosity. I guess I don't get the secret. I'm not going to get any hints, huh? Maybe once we're off recording, I'll get Justin to be able to tell me. All right, I really want to know, what are you guys working on now?
I don't know, Justin. I haven't told anybody, but
That's up to you. Press release.
all right. So the app is, do you live in a homeowners association?
I personally don't, but I have in the past. When I lived in Texas,
Right.
I did.
So homeowner associations are generally managed pretty thin. Like one person might handle hundreds of houses, right? As the
Right, it's a
homeowner.
property manager company. It has the contract. Then you've got the one agent that is in that neighborhood or overlooks everything for that neighborhood, basically.
Yeah, that's one way they do it. I'm learning more and more about it. But let's say that they have 14 different potential violations, door color, trash bins left out too long, landscaping, on and on, roofing.
Boat in the driveway, RV
Yeah.
in the driveway, whatever, grass overgrown. There's all kinds
So
of things.
the homeowner person could take a picture of the violation
Mm-hmm.
and automatically send out a letter to the homeowner that's very detailed in terms of the violation.
Right, they could send notices immediately.
Yeah. And the other side of it is managing applications for changes to their home. So
Okay.
like, some are pretty strict about it. Like,
You want to build a deck. I mean, that's a perfect one.
right. And so they all have different steps that you go through. So we've got that to where that's variable as well. So if you're just changing out a bush, you might have 3 steps that you need to do. Where if you're putting on a deck, you might have 12 steps you need to do, including the local government permits and things like
I
that.
think, man, that's a really good idea. I mean, and what I'm thinking, so if the homeowners association is a member of the app, if they're your client, then their users would be all of the homeowners. Because if they needed to update or do something, is that how they would send the request to the homeowner or to the association asking for requests, and vice versa? The homeowners association would also be able to send notifications to them. There would be have like a database. Is that how it would be?
No, this is not for the homeowners to use. It's
Okay.
only for the management company to be able to track these things. So, I mean, okay, first thing you need to do is send in an application, right? And most of them do that already. So step one of the application is received. So then the management goes in and says, okay, what's the next step? After that, sends a letter to the homeowner saying, okay, now we need a plat of your property, or now we need, whatever steps are.
Whatever the permitting requirements are for that area, whatever.
So it's a way that they can send official letters back and forth without doing mail merges and, typing letters and putting them in the mailbox, right?
Yeah,
So,
no, that's a great idea.
Huge
and
time
there's a lot of
saver.
correspondence going back and forth between the management and the homeowner, and you can track all of that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes because in my younger days, my ex-husband and I, we owned a landscape company and we dealt with homeowner association. I mean, that was our bread and butter. Were all of our HOA contracts. I mean, that's what kept us alive. And once we started getting those, like I said, those were our bread and butter, doing their yearly. And, in Texas, you have yearly contracts. So you get paid in the winter months because it's more year round. It's not as seasonal as up here. I mean, we don't get snow down there. And so I'm very, very familiar with the homeowners associations and property managers that I've dealt with over the years. So I might be able to give you a couple tips on how to get in with those people too, because I'm telling you, that's another one that you got to get through. But it's possible. It can happen. All right. So I guess, I always ask, we're going to start wrapping this up, but I always ask at the end of each podcast episode, I like to find out, if in the ideal world you had a magic wand and there was one thing that you could just fix, one issue you could fix, one thing you could change, one thing that would make everything, better, what would that be?
That's a good question.
Don't mention my name, Justin. And I won't mention yours. You always want things to go faster than they go. That's a lesson we learn over and over and over again. But I think that's probably it. I mean, we just have to be patient. And like I said, develop new apps so that we have, multiple streams of income.
Yeah, I think to me, it goes back to what I said. Their biggest struggle was people see the app, they love it immediately. They see it's very easy to understand, it's very easy to use it. They sign up, and then they're not very good at getting their employees and teammates to use the app. That's where we're at. We've got lots of users, and we're trying to get them to use it more so we can have the stats to show, hey, this thing works, man. This is a viable alternative to spending thousands and thousands of dollars on something else marketing wise. Use this, right? Somehow to spread that word and always, just continue to get more clients onboarded to use the app so that we can show results, so that we can prove to people this is a viable option.
Proof is in the pudding. Yeah, it's
Correct.
definitely great to have proof and to be able to show that it's working. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm looking at my notes here just to see if there's anything that I've missed. And, it's been great having you guys on the call. So for, businesses out there that are going to come across this, they're going to see clips from it. I'm going to give it to you guys for marketing tools, whatever platform. We'll have some magic clips that you guys can put out there and share with anybody. But for anybody that wants to get in touch with you, they want a demo. Brian, why don't you go in and tell us exactly how they do that? And then Justin will let you know if you want to make additions to that on how to get in touch with you guys. Let's let the audience know, how do we find you? What do they do?
Go ahead, Brian.
Email is the best. I mean, they just send an email to me, which is bchavis, bchavis at thegroup6.com. They can go to our website, which is www.thegroup6 with the number 6.com. And we've got testimonial video up there now. We've got a explainer video. So in the 90 seconds, they can see what the app's all about.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, you've got I think it's on YouTube. So I'll make sure that, I'm putting that out there as well. And again, I know it's the group 6, number 6.com. And then, Justin, you want to just give any information if someone wants to get in touch with you?
I mean, that is the best way to get a demo of the product. You can look for KnockKnot, KnockKnot,
Okay.
on YouTube to see the brief video, right? So you can understand a little bit more, because we talked a lot about it, but talking until you see it and get a demo of it, you're wow, like it's pretty damn impressive. I gotta say, Brian did a hell of a job putting this together, and just getting the word out to be able to get these people to see it. Once they see it, everybody that's ever seen a demo is like, where do I sign up and how fast can I get signed?
That's awesome. So, that's amazing.
B Chavis at the Group 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure.
There's a form on the website too that goes directly to us. And you don't have to go to YouTube for that explainer video. That's on our website as well, embedded.
Sure.
Yeah, I've seen it. So that's a good place. All you business owners out there, anybody listening, just again, we're going to repeat it one more time, thegroup6.com. Just go to that website and you can view a demo video, and both gentlemen's information is actually listed at the bottom of the screen, and you can email them, and there is a contact form. So, go find out some more information. So, gentlemen, thank you so very much for being on the show. I'm going to stop recording, but I want y'all to hang on. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching the Bold Vision podcast. This is our season 2. I've got a lot more business owners coming with some really cool, creative, not just apps and software. So I'm really excited to be bringing that to the podcast. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. I really appreciate it.